honor the life of somebody who we all felt was just a remarkable leader here in the city of Portland. He was our friend, perhaps more importantly, and that is Biko Taylor. Biko, as many of you know, served as the City of Portland's Chief Procurement Officer for nearly 3 years. And in that time, I can honestly tell you, he left us with an indelible mark. And not only organizationally, in terms of the leadership he provided here, but on all of us who are fortunate enough to work alongside of him and regard him as a friend. To begin this presentation, I'll turn this over to Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Say loud. I'm getting signs from people in the back of the room. We need to be louder. Okay, thank you very much. I not use it. There we go. So the mic is on. Are things working the way they're supposed to be working?
I think so. I think you may need to be a little closer.
All right. Well, I will do my best to project. I think this mic is about as close to me as it can be. Folks, thank you so much for joining us today. We gather this morning to honor the life and legacy of an extraordinary individual, our friend and colleague, Biko Taylor. Until recently, Biko served as the City of Portland's procurement director, a role in which he made an indelible mark on our city and its people. His sudden passing a few weeks ago was a profound shock and loss for our community, which is why this council wanted to take a moment this morning to celebrate Biko's life, his work, and his unwavering commitment to equity and justice. Before we get into today's program, I want to take a moment to recognize Biko's friends and family who were so good to join us this morning. There we go. And keep those hands out for a minute, because we're joined this morning by Danette Taylor, Biko's spouse, Joma Taylor, Biko's brother, Candace Taylor, Biko's sister-in-law. Here, let's give it a round of applause for the family. We also have several close friends of Biko here, including Robert George, Kira Hardy, Crystal Chanel, and Cheryl Proctor. And I will tell you, as I scan the audience, I see friends and colleagues of Biko's from labor to the procurement world to everyday Portlanders who are touched by his compassion and work. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Your presence reminds us of the deep connections Biko forged and the lives he profoundly influenced. And I am also aware that we have many folks joining us online. Your virtual presence is a testament to the breadth of his impact. Now, at this time, I'd like to invite Deputy City Director Donnie Oliveira, People and Culture Manager Tiffany Pinson, and Procurement Specialist Paris Hall to share some of the reflections and memories of Biko with us. And I think we might have some other guests joining us at the podium too. Yes. Welcome, and please join us today.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, City Council. Donnie Oliveira for the record. So Biko Taylor was my friend. And while, like you, I had the privilege of working with Biko, it was his gift of friendship that I'm most grateful for. And it was my privilege and honor to be a friend. We first met, as many do, over the love of the San Francisco 49ers. And so while our time together usually started as getting together to watch a game on Sunday, we found that we had a lot in common and started making time for each other outside of Niner games. And the conversations were always easy, but deep. And I really cherished that time with him because we shared a lot of hopes and dreams for our lives, our careers, our families, the planet, and people. And it's even after he left Portland, we stayed in contact, and I enjoyed our text threads during Niner games. Yeah. But as a colleague, what made Biko so great to work with was his blend of leadership, class, and rigor. Biko's brilliance was his ability to look at systems while never losing sight of the people he wanted to serve and the people he sought to lift up. But I got to say, most importantly, was how he so deftly utilized that infectious smile, even in the toughest of challenges. I think you all can appreciate that when Biko walked into a room and he's chuckled and smiled, even if the topic was going to be rough and he was up here in front of you all with some difficult conversations, he was always able to balance the truth with just a little bit of levity. And that goes a long way. Being asked to come into a large organization and be a system-wide change agent for good is no easy task. And I can tell you that Biko and I talked about that a lot. We talked about the skepticism, often sort of the subterfuge, but I'll tell you this, it was never with complaint. He never complained about the challenge. He never was upset. It was always about working to get the thing done, and in a positive way. And I will always be inspired by that. It's like, what would Biko do? As a public servant, Biko brought joy to an otherwise grind, and that is special. And if the city of Portland takes anything away from his leadership and his time with us, I hope it's that we make more time for joy. He brought it organically just by showing up, and maybe some of us have to work a little harder to bring it. True. But I think it's going to stand the test of time as much as any product or procedure he left behind. So if we can think about the legacy of Biko, let's start with his ability to bring joy to us all. I miss my friend. I miss Sundays. And I'm grateful that his family and friends are here with us today to remember him and honor him. But I hope we can always take a moment to look out for each other, check in, make sure we're doing well. Because I think that's what Biko did well too, and I think that's what he'd want for us going forward. So, bang, bang, Nanner gang.
Thank you.
You have to forgive me. I'm recovering from laryngitis, but I refuse to miss this moment and to have the chance to speak for someone who impacted my life in such an important way. I had the privilege of working as a procurement specialist under Biko's leadership for roughly a year before he transitioned out of the city. I just wanted to start by saying that I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share with you all, especially Biko's family and friends, just how impactful his presence was in my life and the life of so many other young leaders and individuals. Biko was the first manager that I have ever worked with that inspired me to advocate for the things I believed in. Biko was the first leader to encourage me to find my voice and my place in rooms and environments I often felt like I didn't belong in. And as an African American woman, the symbolic lifting of my head changed my life and my perspective of myself. He played a significant part in my life as a mentor, to the extent that even to this day, I advocate for minorities and those who are often overlooked because of his encouragement. And I wish I had the chance to tell him this. Biko led in such a way that he inspired his team to want to do well because we wanted his legacy in Oregon and the city of Portland to have meaning. And I think our presence here today is a testament of that. In this life, you only get one Biko Taylor. I often find myself looking for his leadership in others and being disappointed when I'm unable to find it. I think the reason this exists is because he has passed that totem pole onto those he impacted to go forth and prosper in the same way that he did. To Biko's family, thank you. Thank you for loving him and for sharing him with us. It is through your support that he was able to lead the way he did, and I will forever be grateful for the time that I had to learn from him and from all of you. Thank you for allowing me to share and to be a part of this moment and to honor his life and his legacy.
Thank you.
My name is Jess Klein. I was the procurement manager, or goods and services procurement manager, working under BECO. The first time I met BECO was to have lunch. Now, it's important to give a little bit of context here. We were having lunch because I was being a pain. I was doing the normal bureau thing of complaining about procurement taking too long, and he was relatively new, so he was doing the, let's meet and discuss issues with the loudmouth. And so we have this lunch, and towards the end of it, he acknowledges, and he's like, yeah, we've got some issues. You've got some ideas. So why don't you come help me do something about it? And that's how I ended up spending that 2.5 years as a procurement manager. That's the thing with BECO, though. He'd listen to you, commiserate, he'd mentor, and then he would turn around and he'd go, so what are you going to do about it? I think most of us in this room had a BECO call to action. BECO believed that what we did had impact. Procurement isn't the most glamorous profession. A lot of times, the only time you get attention is when something goes horrendously wrong. But BECO thoroughly believed that we had a unique ability in government to be able to help people, to be able to help right a lot of historic wrong. And he believed that, and that was his mission statement from the day he got here to the day he left. And you see that impact in this city. The truth is I'm a better person because he was here. The people in this room are better because he was here. And this city is better because he was here. So in his honor, I'm going to give everyone in this room a call to action. Remember him. Remember what he brought. And remember to fight for what is right even when it's hard. Because that is his legacy to us. And that's the best way we can remember him. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Tiffany Penson, and a lot has already been said, but one of the things when BECO was first being hired, Michelle Kirby, she called and she was like, well, we need you to do that thing you do, like welcome him in, make sure there's community, this, that, and the other. So before he came, I reached out to him and asked him things that he liked, and where do you want to live, and all of these things. And so my mother, who we make her work just as hard as I work for y'all, she reached out and she's like, hey, let me find you a nice place and all of the things. And so what really started to form was a real friendship. He spent a lot of time with our family, and we saw him on the regular basis. But one thing that I always called him like old school cool, because he was kind of before his time. And I referred to him as a Renaissance man, and so did a lot of people. He was very cultured. He was almost like he had lived this long life, but he was only 40. He was always exciting. One thing that we had in common, he and I are both visionaries. And sometimes in government, you lose that. You lose that being a visionary because you think that you are confined within processes and bureaucracy and all of those things, but you can still be a visionary. And he and I believed that a lot, and we always dreamed big. We also had in common pouring into young people, how important it is to pour into young people, to believe in them, to invest in them. And so when I think about him, I haven't seen somebody like him in a long time. And this city raised me, not only outside of these walls, but inside of these walls. And so when he came along and I saw that, it almost was like a rebirth, right? A rebirth and a reminder of how great we can be. and how important it is to do our jobs with perfection, not perfection, excellence, right? Not perfection, but excellence, and also to strive to make those around us the best that they could be. So I just wanted to touch on that, and I had talked to him for an hour, like November 4th, and then November 5th, I woke up and he sent this: "What is for us will be for us. God has touched you and provisioned a space for you. What that space will be is a space to serve people and be a beacon for what is right. Job well done." Now, if that's not an old soul, I don't know what is. And so I'm just so glad that he touched us, even if it was for a very short time. And I want us and leadership and just everybody here at the city to just always dream big. We're in an exciting time, and this is the time to dream big, to pour into each other, and to support each other. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, I believe that's the end of our invited testimony.
Very good. Then I'll entertain remarks from my colleagues. Commissioner Mapps, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank our panel for sharing those heartfelt comments today. And friends, I appreciate this opportunity to share some reflections on Biko Taylor's life. Now, as we all know, Biko joined the City of Portland as Procurement Director in the summer of 2021. His vision was clear and transformative: to dismantle barriers and create opportunities for minority-owned businesses. For Biko, this work was not just about awarding contracts. It was about building intergenerational wealth and equity for underserved communities. I will always remember one of my last conversations with Biko. It happened right before he left Portland. He spoke passionately about his commitment to uplifting others, ensuring that everyone he worked with had a fair shot regardless of their background. Justice wasn't just part of his job, it was a guiding principle that defined his approach to life and work. One of Biko's most notable achievements was organizing the first ever Procurement Day, an event that opened up doors for businesses across our community. And just last week, I had the privilege to attend the PBDG Gala, where we celebrated one of the largest infrastructure projects in our city's history. And I will tell you, Biko played a pivotal role to ensure that a diverse group of contractors was not only included, but also empowered to succeed in that project. The foundation he laid will benefit Portlanders for generations to come. This morning, we've heard some calls to action, and I have another one. Biko understood the profound importance of equity and representation. He recognized his work wasn't solely about contracts or infrastructure, it was about people. While his passing leaves an irreplaceable void, his legacy endures and will continue. Today, as we celebrate Biko's life, let's recommit ourselves to the values he championed. Let's carry forward his vision for a more equitable and inclusive Portland, which is why I, along with my colleagues on this council, want to thank Biko Taylor for his dedication, his vision, and his service to the city that we all love. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Mapps and Mayor, for creating this space to honor Biko today, and also to the family that's here with us today. You honor us by being here. Biko was a widely respected leader here. He was a friend. He was one to so many of us here in his short time here, and my heart goes out to his loved ones. And this loss is tremendous, and it's felt very personally in all of our lives. And in his tireless work here, he changed the way that we do business with our contracting, as you've heard, to ensure and hold up the values around equity and the values around inclusion and building generational wealth for all people. And he did so with such grace and generosity. It was such a pleasure to work with him. But he also led very transformative changes in our system, and I feel that's very important for us to underscore here. These are changes that people have been waiting for decades for the city to do, and he led that charge. But at the core, he was an innovator, and he was a visionary for systemic change everywhere. And he was a collaborator and a problem solver, and he worked with everyone to find solutions, and always a win-win. And those that know him know, as some have mentioned, he always said what needed to be said. He was always speaking right to the point, but always while centering equity and fairness and inclusion. And some of us who are lucky to experience it, he was both a brilliant political strategist, if you had those conversations with him, and he was also a very, very hilarious guy. And his work has shaped this city during a really, really challenging time, and his impact will be felt for years and years to come. And so to his wife and his family, I really want to thank you. Thank you for sharing Biko with us. We got to experience him, and we know why he was so loved. And we're a better city because of him. And so my hope is that Portland will take this opportunity to hold up and emulate what he showed us through his example of integrity and dignity and love. So thank you, Biko, for all you've done.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Commissioner Ryan.
Thanks, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for gathering here today to honor a remarkable leader, remarkable human. Your comments earlier were so heartfelt and really centered us today. The timing actually is exquisite as we welcome a new space. Thank you for bringing love to this new space in a way that was quite special to observe. While I didn't know Biko very long or as deeply as those who spoke earlier, I always appreciate my moments with him. He was always so present. He listened. He was never defensive, and he was really comfortable with questions, and he honestly would discuss how to improve a problem. It's part of a culture characteristic that the city of Portland desperately needs, and you could see that it was rippling with those who worked with him. Biko and I learned quickly that we shared a passion for increasing and improving our COVID contracts, a vital avenue for communities of color to learn trades and build generational wealth, like my colleagues mentioned. What I liked about our conversations is they went beyond the contractors. It was about the workforce. It was about how to connect with the kids in high schools, get them into the big apprenticeship programs, then to be the apprentice when we're talking about big, large-scale projects like Bull Run. It was about how to sustain that so someone could literally go from pre-apprentice all the way to journey with a big project like that. He knew it was all about moving new people into those programs so they could have a long-standing career. And like Commissioner Mapps, I just attended the Portland Business Development Group's Building Legacies Gala, celebrating those achievements and those impacts of minority and disadvantaged businesses and construction. And Biko's loss was felt by so many of the attendees. His name just kept coming up. His presence was in that room, just like it is right now. From the earlier comments, it's clear Biko's contributions will bolster city work for years to come, and the equitable impacts of those efforts will resonate throughout our community. My deep condolences to Biko's family, especially to his bride. When Biko told me why he was moving, and I did get in his face about why he was really and he took a little bit of time, and then it was so sweet, and he mentioned it was for love. And I'm like, that's the best reason to relocate. Thank you, Biko, for your service. May you rest in peace.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
I just want to echo my colleagues' comments. I had the least time with Biko, but his warmth came across, his generosity, his sincerity was self-evident the moment he walked in the room and interfaced with him. He provided profound leadership and was a change agent in our procurement processes. Clearly hearing the messages of those who he mentored, it really echoes. So to his family, thanks so much for joining us on this special day honoring Biko, to his colleagues who've called out his many great contributions, and to the panelists. And big guy, we're thinking about you today.
Thank you.
I'm not going to cheer for the Niners, though, but
Thank you, Commissioner Gollings. Thank you, colleagues. And again, I want to join my colleagues in thanking Biko's family and friends for being here today. You honor us with your presence, and we want to extend our deepest condolences to you during what is obviously a difficult time. So many good things have been said about Biko in terms of being a visionary leader, in terms of being an excellent practitioner of procurement. This is a very difficult and technical area in our city. But most importantly, I want to thank the family for sharing him with us. He was just a great guy to be around. And when you get to be my age, you go to a lot of life celebrations and memorial services and the like. And what I'm grateful for with regard to Biko is he was loved, he was appreciated, and he knew it because we told him that while he was with us. And so I have some gratitude here that this council always took the time to say how much we appreciated the work that he was doing in a very tough environment. He made a big difference. He expanded opportunities for small businesses, particularly those owned and operated by people of color and women. This was something that was very, very important to him personally. He wanted to make sure that our city's investments were in clear alignment with the values of equity and inclusion. Biko also was very concerned about customer service. I think all of us up here, and Michael, our city administrator, certainly heard this. People want to know that when they have an issue or a concern with city government, that there's somebody there to respond. And this was very important to Biko, that we improve customer service within our organization. He was very intentional in terms of building bridges with our community partners, making our systems more transparent and obvious to the public and more accessible. And perhaps most importantly, he wanted to make sure that they were fair, that everybody had an equal shot at the opportunities being provided by our contracting. He led with a genuine sense of humanity. As my colleagues have said, it was contagious. He was just such a respectful person in a day and age where respect seems to be a rare attribute. He was very active in mentoring participants, as you heard, in our city's mentorship program. He was always there for community events. He was present in the office and amongst his colleagues and coworkers, and he greeted everybody very warmly. There was always that big smile, there was always that handshake, and he also exuded authenticity in that regard. And I think people appreciated that, and I know I did. Though he left in March to begin a new chapter with his wife in Texas, his influence remains deeply woven into the fabric of this community. As we mourn his passing, let's also remember this. He squeezed an awful lot into a life that was too short, but he lived that life very fully. He showed us the power of leadership rooted through compassion and a belief in the potential of each and every one of us. So on behalf of the city of Portland, I extend my gratitude and my condolences to his family, to his friends, to his colleagues. For those of you who had the privilege of working with him, and I think it's just about everybody in this chamber right now, let us honor his memory by carrying forward the values that he championed. And thank you, Biko, for everything you gave to the city and to each of us. He'll be missed, but his legacy will endure. And it's in that spirit that I've been asked to read the following remembrance document on behalf of the City Council and by extension, all of us in the City of Portland. Whereas Biko Taylor was a dedicated and visionary leader whose work within the City of Portland helped to reshape the procurement landscape by advancing equity, fostering opportunity, and promoting inclusion, particularly in minority-owned businesses. And whereas joining the city in 2021 as the Chief Procurement Officer, Biko quickly demonstrated a unique ability to bridge gaps, to identify opportunities for growth, and create pathways for businesses in underrepresented communities to thrive in municipal contracting, therefore laying a strong foundation for future generations of Portlanders. Whereas Biko's leadership was marked by his ability to see beyond barriers and identify solutions that would drive long-term systematic change. He championed initiatives that not only ensured diversity in public contracts, but also provided the necessary resources and support to ensure that these businesses could compete and succeed. And whereas one of Biko's most lasting contributions was his role in broadening access to public contracts for minority and disadvantaged businesses, including his critical involvement in large-scale infrastructure projects. His strategic thinking and his hands-on approach helped integrate diverse contractors into these significant projects, fostering an environment where he knew that they could grow and they could succeed. Whereas Biko is deeply committed to mentoring those coming up in the field of procurement, consistently prioritizing the development of others and creating a culture of support and opportunity within his team. His legacy as a mentor will continue to inspire those who had the privilege of working with him. And whereas Biko's commitment to public service was fueled by his belief that all individuals should have a fair opportunity to succeed regardless of their background, his tireless efforts to improve the procurement process were always rooted in a deep sense of justice, and his work consistently reflected his focus on people, not just policies. Whereas Biko's efforts culminated in the creation of the first ever Procurement Day, an event that opened new doors for local businesses by demystifying the city's sometimes complicated contracting processes and fostering greater direct engagement between the government and community stakeholders. This initiative became a powerful tool for enhancing civic participation and fostering economic growth across Portland. And whereas though Biko's work was largely behind the scenes, the impact of his efforts were undoubtedly far-reaching and highly visible in the increased participation of diverse businesses in Portland's economy. His commitment to building a more equitable and inclusive future will remain a central part of our city's ongoing efforts. And whereas Biko's untimely passing has left an immeasurable void in our hearts and in this community, his dedication to public service and his contributions to Portland's procurement landscape will continue to resonate, and his legacy will live on in the work that he began and the many, many lives he has touched. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby honor and celebrate Biko Taylor for his exceptional leadership, unwavering commitment to equity, and transformative contributions to the City of Portland. His legacy will continue to inspire all who follow in his footsteps, and his work will remain a cornerstone of Portland's commitment to a more inclusive and just future. Thank you again, family and friends, for being here, for honoring us, for giving us this opportunity to reflect and celebrate. We'll take a 2-minute recess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess so. Donnie.
So, Ms.
The mics are live. Yeah, sorry. There will be glitches today, folks.
Are we on now? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like we're on. All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Wednesday, December 18th, 2024 morning session of the Portland City Council. Keelan, please call the roll.
Maps.
Here.
Rubio.
Here?
Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Wheeler.
Here, we'll hear from legal counsel on the rules of order and decorum. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. Individuals may testify for 3 minutes unless the presiding officer states otherwise. Your microphone will be muted when your time is over. The presiding officer preserves order. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. If you are a lobbyist, identify the organization you represent. Virtual testifiers should unmute themselves when the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome everybody to the newly renovated Portland City Hall chambers. As you can tell, this is a trial run of the new chambers. There will be some glitches today as we work through some of the telecast as well as some of the sound and potentially some of the lighting issues. We want to make sure that we get all the bugs out of the council chamber prior to tossing the keys across the table to the new council on January 1st. But I am very proud to announce that we are on track to deliver the substantially renovated City Hall to the new mayor and to the new council on January 1st. Of course, I will ask for your patience. We may have to stop a time or two to adjust some of the technology issues or some of the physical aspects of the chamber, so just bear with us. This is an important day in the lives of many, and I want to reflect that, including all of us sitting up here at the dais. Today marks the last time that I will convene the City Council as your mayor, and this is the last day of meetings for this City Council. Also, after 110 years, this is the last day that we will be convened as the commission form of government. I'm extremely grateful that my colleagues and I have had the opportunity to convene in this newly renovated council chamber, even though it is on this final day of council meetings for this City Council. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the generations of past leaders that have stepped up through Portland's history to serve our city, and I want to express my gratitude to the generations who will follow. I also personally want to thank my colleagues who are sitting up with me here today, Commissioner Mapps, Commissioner Rubio, Commissioner Ryan, and Commissioner Gonzalez. The public is probably not aware of the many sacrifices that each of you have made to serve the public, and also the work that you did to help ensure a smooth transition to the new form of government. Two of my colleagues ran for 4-year terms, but are only serving 2 years. They will vacate in response to the shift in government. This council, and indeed our staff, left our offices in City Hall and moved into temporary spaces to accommodate renovations both here in the chamber as well as in the council offices upstairs, and to be able to accommodate new roles in our city government, including Michael Jordan here as our first city administrator. And by the way, he is doing an outstanding job, and I want to thank you, Michael, for all of the work that you have put into ensuring a smooth transition from one form of government to a new one, while making sure that the trains run on time. My colleagues and their staffs, the city administrator and our deputy city administrator, our city clerks, our attorneys, our facilities folks, our technology people, our security people, and many, many other teams came together to ensure that we could move from this chamber to the 1900 building, set it all up, and then operate it successfully over the better part of a year, and then move it all back into here. 6 months ago, I asked my colleagues to do something rather extraordinary. I asked them to give up their bureau portfolios so that we could move on to the new form of government, so that we could pilot the new structure, so that our organization would be up and running on day one for the next mayor and for the next city council. And I want the public to know that they met these significant changes, these significant asks, with incredible professionalism, with flexibility, and a clear commitment to do what was in the best interest of our city. These commissioners have been instrumental in transitioning to this new form of government, and they should be commended for their leadership during this dynamic time. It was not easy. There was no clear path in terms of how to get it done, but they did it. And for that reason, colleagues, you have my sincere gratitude and my thanks for your leadership. I would also be remiss if I didn't extend my deepest gratitude to the many city staff, our contractors, so many community partners who've worked tirelessly to get us to this point. While time doesn't permit me obviously to name all who contributed to this Herculean effort. Please know that your contributions are noticed and they are appreciated. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together, and I'm confident that the work we've done will set the stage for a stronger and more effective city government. Last, since this is what I'm going to close on, I want to embarrass somebody in this chamber who means the world to me and who has sacrificed mightily and helped lead me through this period of transition. And that is Diwu, sitting there in the second row, looking like she's about to melt. That is my girlfriend. She has been a stalwart supporter of mine through thick and thin. And Dee, I really appreciate you. Thank you for everything you have done and will do going forward. So with that, I'll turn this over to my colleagues. I know some of them have some comments they'd like to make on this historic day as well. Commissioner Mapps, your hand is raised first. We'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Friends and colleagues, when I joined this council 4 years ago, I did not anticipate the scale of the challenges that we would face. There was a global pandemic which reshaped our lives. Urgent calls for racial justice reminded us of the need to address historic wrongs. Homelessness tested our city's compassion and our ability to deliver basic services to our most vulnerable residents. And fentanyl claimed countless lives, shattered families, and scarred an entire generation of Portlanders. Now, this council faced those challenges with determination, resilience, and a shared belief that Portland's best days are still ahead of us, which is why I want to take a moment to thank my colleagues on this council. Thank you, Mayor Wheeler. Over the past 4 years, no mayor in America has faced a more daunting series of challenges than Ted Wheeler. Mayor Wheeler met those challenges with courage, creativity, and compassion. His steady leadership during turbulent times is the reason Portland is on the rise today. And that is why I am confident that when the history of our time is written, Ted Wheeler will be remembered as one of Portland's great mayors. I also want to take a moment to thank my friend and colleague, Carmen Rubio. Commissioner Rubio is a steadfast champion for equity and inclusion and is a historically significant leader in our nation's efforts to combat climate change. Carmen's approach to the public's work is always filled with integrity, vision, and a deep sense of humanity. Portland is a better and more inclusive place because of her leadership, and I am deeply grateful to have had the privilege of serving alongside her. And Commissioner Renee Gonzalez, it has been a true pleasure to serve on this council with you. I admire your intellectual curiosity, your intellectual rigor, and your intellectual honesty. I also appreciate your unrelenting commitment to making Portland a safer and saner city, and sir, you have achieved that. And Commissioner Dan Ryan. Friends, I think we all know it is no accident that Councilor Ryan is this commission's sole survivor. Commissioner Ryan is smart, pragmatic, and deeply committed to making Portland a better city. He is also a champion for the arts and parks and is one of the founding fathers of the Safe Rest Village movement, which has now become a national model. Portland will be better off because Dan Ryan continues to serve on this council. And to the Bureau of Directors and dedicated staff at Emergency Services, Environmental Services, Transportation, and Water, your expertise, hard work, and commitment are unmatched. It has been a privilege to serve with you. And to my chiefs of staff, Katie and Michelle, your strategic leadership and steady guidance were instrumental to everything we achieved. and to my incredible team, Cynthia, Jack, Natalie, Clay, Andrew, Goldan, Jill, and Matt. You have been the heart and soul of my office. Your hard work and dedication have made Portland a better place. I am grateful for your service to my office and our city. And because history rhymes but does not repeat itself, I will be humble in my advice to the next council. However, I will share this. Disagreements amongst council members are inevitable and healthy. That is what democracy looks like. At the same time, I encourage new members of council to remember Portland succeeds when council works as a team. Your shared goal is not just to make a better city, but to make it a place where every Portlander can thrive. I want to close by wishing good luck to our new council, and I want to thank you for your coming service. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Just want to acknowledge the eloquent and heartfelt comments from Commissioner Mapps. Thanks so much. It has been my immense pleasure and privilege to serve as a city commissioner for these 2 years and to recognize this historic day with you all today. I want to honor all of the city staff who worked so hard to deliver this chambers, these offices and the building, and the transition as a whole on time. Serving as a commissioner of public safety has been the professional honor of my life. Leading and supporting the professionals who protect Portland, whether in 911, Portland Fire, or an event in the case of emergency, is something I will carry with me the rest of my life. I want to call out my excellent team, staff that have worked through sometimes chaotic work environments, 2 imposed remodels in our 2 years, an abbreviated term, with a commissioner who pushed hard on tough issues. That didn't make it easy for you, and I am deeply appreciative of your dexterity and your commitment to Portlanders. To my colleagues here on council, thank you for your collaboration and for pushing me to grow every single day. Whether we agreed every day or not, we were all pushing to serve the city of Portland, the city we love. I also want to say thank you to my family, and particularly my wife and my children, my parents and my in-laws, that endured at times significant sacrifices with resilience, support, and love. And to Portlanders who elected me in 2022, who provided constant encouragement on the toughest issues, thank you for your support and entrusting me with the honor to serve as a commissioner in the city of Portland. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner Rubio.
So it's a bit both exciting and a little bit surreal to be here at the last council meeting before we transition into the new form of leadership and into a new council. But as thinking about things coming to an end, I want to, again, like everyone up here, thank everyone, including those that have been really engaged with us specifically in my office over the past 4 years, whether you're neighbors, advocates, city staff, residents, anyone. I've said this before in this room, representation really does matter, and each and every single voice matters. I truly believe that. And I truly hope that everybody who's engaged with us has always felt represented. I hope that you felt respected, and even in times of disagreement. And I hope that that continues moving into the next year. And this has been a really pivotal time for all of us. You know, you've heard my colleagues say a little bit about that. When I started this job, the whole world was shut down during the critical days of the pandemic, and everything was remote, including my very first council meeting. And we faced, the economic slowdown, the housing crisis, extreme weather, the reckoning for racial justice, and all sorts of other challenges that popped up. But we're a resilient city, and on several of these things, we're making a lot of progress, and we're on the road to healing and recovery. And on other things, like housing and homelessness and climate, we still have significant work before us, and that work is still ongoing and in some cases just beginning. But I have a lot of confidence in the new council, a lot of confidence in this brilliant city staff that we have here, and that everyone is up to the task. And the new council's entering with fundamentally different roles than the 5 of us have now, and they're setting the next stage for the next chapter for the city's history. And you know, it will be, I'm sure we'll see that there will be some challenges, but there'll be some really amazing new opportunities as well. And in some instances, maybe like us, they will feel like wish they had more resources or authority or more time to do things. But in many instances, they will do much, much more than they ever dreamed was possible here as well. And that wonderful feeling when you know that something is moving forward and it's on the right track and we're responding to a deep need in the city and the community. I'm really humbled by everything I've learned and contributed in this time here. And I also am very proud of the work that we've done as a council and that what we've accomplished here. And I want to extend my best wishes to each of my colleagues. And I also want to really especially appreciate Mayor Wheeler for your tremendous leadership, for your integrity, and for your wisdom and your leading with grace. I really appreciate, Mayor, how you've led with openness, and you're always willing to learn, and you're always willing to pivot, which I didn't find is a usual trait anymore. You know, and I've always really appreciated that about you and your willingness to try something new. So I've learned that from you. So I'm deeply grateful also for the partnership and work of each of our bureau directors and DCAs. I especially want to call out Helmi Hisarick, Eric Engstrom, Sam Barrasso, David Kuhnhausen, Kimberly Branham, Chief Day, and of course, Donnie Oliveira, all of whom have extremely hard jobs, and so many more that I did not name. But with each of them, you know, we were able to do some really important work here at the city. And our government and city is very lucky to have these public servants. Thanks so much to the bureau staff who show up every day doing their part to make Portland good and make sure our residents get the services they need and people are safe. And I also want to thank my staff for their dedication and brilliance and creativity and brain power and humility. Thank you for bringing that all into your work every day and for stepping up. And Adelina, Megan, Christina, Jillian, Byron, Jimmy, Angela, as well as Misan, Mona, Rico, Will, Stephen, and others. I'm so very grateful for each of you. You're my family, and there will always be a tamale for you at Christmas time at my house. The call to public service is not for everyone, but each one of you responded to that call with honor and service, and Portland's better for it. And so last, I just want to thank all the community organizations and neighborhood groups and so many people who believe in Portland's potential. Keep holding our city accountable. Thank you for holding us accountable. Thank you for reminding us of our city's values as we take those steps to make the city that we want it to be. I truly believe we have a new mayor and council who believes in the very best of Portland. My computer just died.
Wow.
No.
There it is.
Okay. Wow, okay. I truly believe that we have a new mayor and a new council that believes in the very best of Portland, and Portland is in good hands. And this job has been the honor of my life, and I'm very proud of the work and heart and love that we're all leaving on the field today. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. And last but not least, the survivor, Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, it's been an honor to serve on this city council with all of you. I've always been on the end, all of you to the right. Together, we continue to thrive, even in the face of unprecedented changes that the mayor mentioned earlier. We shifted, we adapted, we pivoted often, especially with the charter vote. We talked about the moving of offices a couple times, moved chambers, and helped build an on-ramp to our new governance structure. And at the same time, we stayed laser focused on critical issues facing our city. We had thoughtful debate, creative tension, as I like to call it, and remained in dialogue as we often made very difficult decisions because we knew that we were doing good work for Portlanders who often don't feel heard. And our cooling off periods were rather brief. I know we needed them now and then. We took the work seriously, not ourselves. We did the best we could to be nonpartisan in a political, polarizing environment. That is public servant leadership. I remember what it was like in September of 2020 as I joined the mayor, and soon enough we were doing really hard things, all in our homes as we were locked in. And then you trusted me to work with the county to collaborate and challenge the status quo so we could improve our results for those who are chronically homeless. Soon, we welcomed Commissioner Rubio and MAPS in 2021, which was great because I finally got some onboarding when the two of you arrived. And then Commissioner Gonzalez in 2023. While things in the city aren't perfect now, we as a team, and I want to stress that word team, which is a rarity in political bodies, have made significant progress. I really want to pause now and just thank my staff team, currently led by TJ McHugh, and formerly by Kelly Torres. I know I'm going to mess up if I list everyone over the last 4+ years, but I will acknowledge Jill, who's been doing council prep the last 2 years. Thank you. Alexa's out there. And I want to acknowledge, I'm just going to do the ones I see in the audience. There's Darian Jones, who's now a leader in the arts office. And I liked what we sprung forth. So we have an arts office. Charity Montez, who was on our team at the beginning, is now leading that after she led the Safe Rest Villages. Terry Tyson, who is the person who is the staffer behind the permit reforms. So all of us sit up here with great honor because we've had people who have believed in us, who have sacrificed for us, have probably been awkward at times in social gatherings when they say they work for Commissioner Ryan. That's part of what it's like to do politics in 2024 and before this. People are heated. They're going to tell you what they really think. But I do look forward to a celebration with all of the staff later this week. I will do everything I can to keep us as a city moving forward, as I have the honor of doing that now with 11 other public servants. I look forward to staying in touch with all of you, and I'm looking forward to those tamales. I decided it would be on staff, Commissioner Rubio. It's an honor. It's been an honor to sit in the hot seat with all of you the last 4+ years. You're the only people who could really understand what we were all going through. And I enjoyed those moments where we got off topic, but made it a little bit personal about how we survived the weekend with visitors that came to our home, or lovely heated comments we get, why merely trying to buy some groceries at New Seasons. It's what we all experienced, because Portlanders love this city and they're passionate about us getting it back on track. And I know all of us did the very best we could. I will miss all of you deeply. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. All right, thank you, colleagues. First up is public communications. First individual, please, item number 1091.
Request of Maria Flores to address council regarding janitorial contract concerns.
My name is Yasmini Ibarra. I'm the political director for SEIU Local 49. I will be translating today for Maria.
Okay. Hola, alcalde, miembros del Consejo Municipal. Gracias por estar aquí y darme la oportunidad de hablar. Ustedes hoy día tienen la gran honor de hacer la diferencia en nuestras vidas, para bien o para mal.
Hello, Mayor Wheeler and City Council members. Thank you for being here and giving me the opportunity to speak. Today you have the great honor of making a difference in our lives, for better or for worse.
Hola, mi nombre es María Flores y soy trabajador de limpieza aquí en el edificio Portland. He estado trabajando para Relay Resources durante más de un año y también soy delegada sindical de mi sindicato, tal vez me hayan visto a mí o a mis colegas limpiando alguno de los pisos.
Hello, my name is Maria Flores. I'm a janitor here at the Portland building. I've been working for Relay Resources for over a year, and I'm also a shop steward for my union. Maybe you've seen me and my colleagues cleaning some floors.
Primero que todo, trabajar en un lugar que tenga sindicato es importante para mí porque si tenemos unidad, tenemos apoyo y si no tenemos apoyo, estamos desprotegidos.
First of all, working in a place that has a union is important to me because if we have unity, we have support, and if we don't have support, we are unprotected.
Relay es una empresa que ofrece protección y uno de los mejores seguros médicos. Tener un plan de médico dental y de la vista es algo que es caro y otras empresas no lo ofrecen, sobre todo sin costo alguno para nosotros. También nos dan la oportunidad de poder a nuestros hijos a muy bajo costo.
Relay is a company that offers protections and one of the best medical insurance. Having medical, dental, and a vision plan is something that is expensive and other companies do not offer, especially at no cost to us. It also gives us the opportunity to put our kids at a very low cost.
Cuando trabajé para otra empresa de limpieza en este mismo edificio, no ofrecían beneficios de salud ni recomendaciones de atención médica accesible. Tenemos estos buenos beneficios porque luchamos por ellos y nuestros sindicatos, sin un sindicato, no tendríamos voz ni voto en nuestros salarios ni en nuestros beneficios.
When I worked for another cleaning company in the same building, they didn't offer us health benefits or have recommendations for affordable care. We have these good benefits because we fought for them in our union. Without a union, we would have no voice in our wages or benefits.
Otra de las buenas de Relay es que tenemos acceso al 401k para prepararnos para una mejor jubilación cuando ya no podamos trabajar. Una empresa anterior para la que trabajé, sin ninguna explicación, empezó a deducirme $100 por cheque porque decían que era obligatorio para nuestro 401k y eso no era bien, ni siquiera igualaban la deducción.
Another good thing about Relay is that we have access to 401k to prepare for a better retirement when we can no longer work. A previous company I worked for with no explanation started to deduct $100 per paycheck because they said it was mandatory for a 401k. And that's not right. They didn't even match the deduction.
En un sindicato tenemos voz y voto en lo que respecta a nuestros beneficios. Hoy le pido que consideren buenos empleos sindicarios en nombre de todos mis colegas que han luchado durante años para mejorar nuestros empleos. Le pedimos que inviertan en empleos sindicales como el mío.
In a union, we have a say in our benefits. Today, I ask you to please consider good union jobs on behalf of my colleagues who have fought for years to make good jobs. We ask you to invest in union jobs like mine.
Tengo entendido que la ciudad es contratando actualmente a una empresa sin sindicato para el servicio de limpieza en el departamento de parques. Me decepcionó oír eso. Peor aún, escuché que están contratando a una empresa que ni siquiera cumple con sus requisitos.
It's my understanding that the city is currently contracting with a non-union company in janitorial at parks. I was disappointed to hear that. Even worse, I was hearing you're contracting with a company that doesn't even meet your requirements.
La ciudad tiene una opción porque el personal de la ciudad y los abogados están poniendo excusas para la empresa que no apoyan a los trabajadores de limpieza y no califica para un contrato.
The city has a choice. Why are city staff and attorneys making excuses for a company that doesn't support janitors and doesn't qualify for a contract?
Los trabajadores de limpieza como yo nunca recibimos este tipo de beneficios. Peor, aquí en esta empresa sin unión recibe un trato especial por parte de la ciudad de Portland. Le pido que se quede del lado de los trabajadores de limpieza. Muchas gracias por escucharme y por su atención. María Flores.
Janitors like me are never given that kind of benefit, but here an anti-union company gets special treatment from the city of Portland. I'm asking you to stay on the side of janitors. Thank you for your time and your attention. María Flores.
Thank you. Next individual, please, 1092, Keelan.
Request of Lynn Handlin to address council regarding Zenith Energy.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Lynn Handlin. I'm with Extinction Rebellion. I'm also a small business owner in Portland. I learned yesterday that the city received an application for a new Lux from Zenith Energy. I'm here today to ask you all, and in particular Mayor Wheeler and Administrator Jordan, to do the right thing for the city and the community and let the new city council handle this. Do not grant the Lux. Zenith has a long and full history of violation, deception, and broken promises. They told the DEQ that they would not increase throughput. They then increased throughput many-fold. Do not grant the Lux. Zenith was just fined over $370,000 for illegally expanding by using the McCall dock without permission from the DEQ. This illegal activity went on for years, and the DEQ did not notice, nor did the city, or did the city know and did nothing? Either way, this is reason enough to not grant the Lux. They've been using this illegal expansion for fossil diesel, not just renewables. This violates the city's no new fossil fuel infrastructure rules. Do not grant the Lux. Over the last few years, throughout the Zenith's various Lux requests, you've heard from thousands of community members via organizations and neighborhood associations and just individuals calling and emailing. I'm sure you remember. There were 70 people at a DEQ Q&A the other day. Those are not fun. All of them asking to not grant the Lux. According to LUBA, Zenith's Lux process is quasi-judicial in nature. City code and state law call for public involvement. It should have happened last time, and it must happen this time. Do not grant the Lux. Zenith has not provided the complete seismic analysis required by the DEQ as part of the fuel tank seismic stability program, and what they have submitted is woefully inadequate, incomplete, and probably inaccurate. It's pretty clear that Zenith's operations do present substantial seismic risks and that they are obscuring. Do not grant the Lux. Are you worried about Zenith suing you? Imagine if you grant the Lux, disaster hits, people die, and families sue you. Do not grant the Lux. Some people are considering asking the next city council to look into the actions by the city that have led to Zenith's continued deceptive and dangerous operations. I don't think you all want to add to that now. Do not grant the Lux. If you want to act on Zenith, you have a perfect opportunity. You can rescind the Lux that was incorrectly granted already. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was perfectly timed, and advertisers would appreciate how many times you made the core message. I briefly got together with City Administrator Jordan. As you know, this got kicked back to the city. We do not have enough time to thoroughly engage this process between now and the end of the year, particularly with the holidays coming up. So it will be taken up by the next mayor and the next council in January.
I'm glad to hear it. So are all of them.
Great, thank you. Next individual, please, item number 1093.
Request of Sarita Burks to address council regarding accountability, responsibility, and integrity.
Are they online, Keelan?
No, Sarita? Doesn't look like they're here.
All right, very good. Next individual, 1094, please.
Request of Susan Griffin to address council regarding difficulties living in downtown Portland. Susan? Doesn't look like they're here.
All right, we ran a little over today, and I understand people probably need to get to work and whatnot. 1095, please.
Request of Addie Smith to address council regarding Mead building corruption. Addie? I don't think they're here.
All right, very good. Keelan, have any items been pulled off the consent agenda?
No.
Please call the roll.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Gonzalez?
Aye.
Wheeler?
All right, consent agenda is adopted. First time certain, please. Item near 1096, please also read 1097 and 1098.
Item 1096, present audit of the financial statements for the year ended June 30, 2024, and related communications. 1097, accept City of Portland Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. 1098, approve plan of action to correct finding by outside auditor of a material weakness in the FY 2023-24 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report.
Very good. Colleagues, as you know, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, the CAFR, comprises the actual audited financial results for city operations. It also provides key information related to the city's overall financial health. The financial report is prepared by the accounting division within the budget and finance service area. It's audited by the independent audit firm, Moss Adams LLP, under the contract that we have with the city auditor. Today, we'll learn about the results of the audit from the city auditor, Simone Reddy, and our partners from Moss Adams. We'll also hear from Deputy City Administrator Jonas Berry about the fiscal year 2024 report preparation. And with that, I'll turn it over to the auditor to begin their presentation. But I also just want to point out that, as usual, since this comes from the auditor, when we get to 1096, is it 1096, John? 1096, we will not be taking a vote. We're just accepting it, but we will accept the report that is part of this. Welcome, Auditor Reddy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners. I'm City Auditor Simone Reddy. This is my second and last time that this council will hear from me giving this presentation, and I really appreciate your engagement on this subject matter at the very end of your terms in office. So thank you. Joining me from our outside financial audit firms, Moss Adams, is Keith Simovic. Manager Brooke Stout is also available online. And Jonas Beery, the city's Chief Financial Officer and Deputy City Administrator for Budget and Finance, is to my left. As part of the Auditor's Office, our mission is to ensure open and accountable government. So to that end, I present periodically our audit work to you. Presenting our work publicly allows the community to engage with it. Next slide, please. Our city charter charges the Auditor's Office with auditing the performance of our city government, as well as overseeing the audit of our financial statements. As Mayor Wheeler said, we're not asking for council action on this particular item, which is the presentation, or the audit itself, but the Chief Financial Officer will be asking for your vote on management's response to an audit finding. Advance 2 slides, I believe. There we go. First, I want to explain the difference between performance and financial audits. Performance audits are reviews of the efficiency, effectiveness, and equity of one city program or service at a time. And the topics and methods for those audits are chosen by my office. By contrast, a financial audit is a review of financial statements, and it follows state law and accounting standards. Today, we're going to be looking back at the last fiscal year, which ended June 30th, 2024. And the objective of this audit was to obtain reasonable assurance about the financial statements and whether they were free from material misstatement. So in other words, whether they were significantly off. Next slide. I also want to highlight the different roles that everyone played. Management is responsible for preparing the financial statements and for putting financial controls in place. In the old form of government, management consists of staff from the accounting division within the former Bureau of Finance and Revenue that was headed by the Chief Financial Officer. In the old form of government, the mayor and commissioners were also managers who were ultimately responsible for internal control. In the new form of government, management will consist of staff from the accounting division, which is now part of the budget and finance service area, under the direction of the chief financial officer and the deputy city administrator, and ultimately the mayor. In the new form of government, the city council will continue to oversee the financial reporting process as part of its legislative role. My office is in charge of the financial audit and will continue to have this role in the new form of government. This separation between auditors and management enhances auditor independence, which increases trust in the results. We contracted with the firm Moss Adams to complete this financial audit, and I'm happy to say that the city received a clean audit opinion on the financial statements. The outside audit concluded that the city's financial statements are an accurate reflection of the city's finances. Last slide. The financial statements and audit are an important resource for community members, taxpayers, and investors who buy the city's debt, and of course, decision makers like you. Interested parties can use them to see what financial shape the city is in. The outside auditors also completed an audit for the city's spending of federal grant money. They reviewed a list of the types and amounts of spending of federal money and our compliance with federal requirements. In addition, the auditors issued a letter to City Council describing how the audit went, plus other issues that are required by audit standards. This year, our outside auditors found a material weakness in the city's internal control, and Keith is going to describe what that means in more detail during his presentation. I appreciate the leadership of the city's Chief Financial Officer, Jonas Beery, as well as staff in the Budget and Finance Service area, as well as all city bureaus who helped facilitate the audit process over many months during the summer and fall, and for answering questions from the outside auditors. I also want to thank Moss Adams for their continued excellence and professionalism in performing financial audits on our behalf. If you have any questions after today's presentation, my office can set up a meeting with you, as well as your staff upon request. Our Audit Services Deputy Director, Tenzin Gunta, is here to answer questions and can also set up a briefing with you. Now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Keith and Brooke, and then Jonas will speak about the financial statements and how management is responding to the material weakness finding. That is the item that you'll be asked to vote on. And after his remarks, we can answer questions as well as hear public testimony from you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Auditor.
Perfect. Well, good morning, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. It's great to be back here in person. With me, of course, online virtually is Brooke Stout, our audit manager. And again, my name is Keith Simvik, partner with Moss Adams and oversaw our team during the audit engagement this year. Our intent today is to go through and summarize the results of our financial statement audit for the year ended June 30th, 2024, and answer any questions that you might have. Go ahead and advance the slide, and we'll go through kind of the breadth of the services that we provide to the city. There's a number of different audit engagements that we perform for the city, and a lot of that is because of the inclusion of those various entities within the city's financial reporting in the annual comprehensive financial report, or what's called the ACFR. So in addition to the financial statement audit over the fairness and accuracy of the city's financial statements, we also do a standalone audit of Prosper Portland and its own annual comprehensive financial report that they issue. We also do an audit of the FPDNR retirement funds, as well as the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. In addition, as you heard from Auditor Reddy, we also audit the federal funding and then the spend of those federal funds each and every year to make sure that those funds are spent in accordance with the compliance requirements underlying those grant agreements, and that's called the single audit. So there are federal funds that are spent both out of the City of Portland and Prosper Portland that are covered in that audit. I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide and turn it over to Brooke. If you can hear her online, she's going to go through the next couple of slides for us.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. So like Keith said, my name's Brooke Stout. I was the audit manager for this engagement, and my apologies I couldn't be in person today, but I really appreciate the remote accommodations. So as you can see, our audit opinion, we can go through these reports, and Keith will go through the finding, like you said, in more detail, but financial statements were an unmodified clean opinion. We did have a material weakness in internal controls over financial reporting, but like we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We did have one small finding related to Oregon minimum standards, which was a failure to post the budget committee meeting public notice within the required time frame. It was just a few days shy of that. And then we had no compliance findings for the single audit. So if you want to go to the next slide. As auditors, we do have a few required communications, which include the planned scope and timing of the audit, significant accounting policies, any audit adjustments, and our interactions with management throughout the process. So first, the planned scope and timing. We finalized our audit on December 9th, and the scope included a comprehensive review of the financial statements, an assessment of internal controls, and an evaluation of compliance with applicable accounting standards. For significant accounting policies, we had no significant changes in accounting policies compared to the prior fiscal year. During our audit process, we mentioned it a couple of times, but we did have that one material weakness, which did lead to an audit adjustment. And the specifics of this audit adjustment will be detailed by Keith in the next slide. But I do want to emphasize that it's been communicated to management, and it is reflected in the final financial statements. And we really appreciated everyone's work on the adjustment and the cooperation from the city's team. It was really helpful. And on that note, I'm happy to report that there were no disagreements with management regarding accounting treatments or disclosures. We encountered no significant difficulties in performing the audit. And the cooperation and support from management and staff really greatly facilitated a smooth audit process for us. And it allowed us to really focus on delivering a high quality audit. So we really appreciate that. And with that, I'll kick it back over to Keith to discuss that adjustment.
Perfect. Thanks, Brooke. All right, on the next slide, we're going to summarize the audit adjustment that we had. And what an audit adjustment is as we start our audit work after the city has already closed its books for the fiscal year, if we note anything in the detailed testing that we're doing that is something not recorded at the right amount, in the right period, classified in the right account, or if it's not following the governmental accounting standard rules that the city has to follow, that could trigger an audit adjustment. And again, we're looking for the big ticket items, the material misstatements in your financial statements, so we can give an opinion over the fairness and accuracy of that reporting. What we noted in our testing this year had to do with the area of capital assets, specifically construction work in process, a number of projects within PBOT that were captured in your construction work in process line item. But those projects, as we conducted our testing, we found a number of them were actually completed. They were in service. The assets were ready for their intended use or already being utilized for that intended purpose. And in that case, the accounting rules say that should be classified as capital assets in service, and you should start the depreciation process. So you can recognize the expenditures and that depreciation expense running through your income statement. So you'll see the different dollar amounts here. The $262.9 million had to do with reclassifying assets from construction work in process to capital assets in service. Item number 2 had to do with recognizing the missed depreciation of $12.1 million on those projects that were not capitalized to capital assets and service in a timely manner in accordance with the governmental accounting standards, and then an additional $6.3 million of those costs that were in capital assets and service that really should have been expensed and not part of capital assets in service or construction work in process. So those adjustments, as Brick mentioned, are reflected in that final ACFR report. But this led to internal control recommendations that we have that we've classified as a material weakness. A material weakness is defined in our audit speak as a lack of internal controls where a significant error could occur and not be prevented or detected by the processes in place. And so with this specific item, we're recommending that additional reviews and procedures be implemented within PBOT to periodically review the list of open projects and ensure the ones that are actually completed and are ready for
correctly, the issue is we misclassified cost as work in progress as opposed to capital assets.
Correct.
And so is that a judgment call by someone in accounting, or how is that generally, how is that typically determined?
It shouldn't be a judgment call. There's specific accounting rules that dictate when that needs to move to capital assets in service and you start depreciation. Once the construction is done and it's ready for its intended use, and it's even kind of standard to have it open for maybe even 60 to 90 days past construction completion to allow for contractor invoices to come through, labor costs to come through, and then you would close that and start the depreciation process. So it's not really a judgment call, but more so there should be processes in place to monitor that and make sure that that's happening on a timely basis.
And so based on that description, it doesn't sound like it's a pure computation, though. You still need someone making an assessment based on applying the accounting principles.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any sense of what that going forward internal control would look like? I'm just trying to visualize how this plays out.
And you'll hear a plan of action from
Okay.
From your CFO here in just a little bit. But in general, what we would look for is when we see this at other organizations, other local governments where this happens very well, there's a good communication between project management, who understands where the projects are at any point in time, and the accounting department that understands the accounting rules and knows when things need to be reflected a certain way in your financial reporting. So when there's good communication and collaboration between those two groups, this can be prevented.
Got it. Thank you. I'm good.
Thank you. Commissioner Mapps.
I'm going to want to dig into the PBOT piece of this, but it sounds like there's more to your presentation. Is that correct?
Correct, if there's no other questions at the moment for Keith or Auditor Reddy.
Okay, why don't I let you complete your show, and then we can see if I have any
one
questions left.
Question, I guess, about this. Isn't the solution here just basically to have the list reviewed more frequently?
Correct.
So you have a list of projects that are underway, and we were late getting projects that were underway onto the list of completed capital assets, so we should just review the list more frequently. Isn't that the solution?
Correct. That can be a very good solution.
Okay, but I did have one other question. What is the consequence? Understanding it's not compliant with the accounting rules, and therefore it has to be called out, it has to be fixed. Why should people care in a more general sense that assets are not being depreciated on a timely basis? What does that mean for Portlanders? Why should they care?
I can say one thing, that this does not impact your cash balances. This does not impact budget. This is a financial reporting item, but because we report it out as a material weakness, because of the dollar value that we're talking about here, that gets included in your ACFR. Third parties that get a hold of this see that. The state of Oregon requires that you're filing with them. They also require, if there are significant deficiencies or material weaknesses like we have here that come out of the audit process, that there's a plan of action and that's communicated to the state so that they are aware. It can also impact when you are going out for federal grants. If they're seeing a consistent theme of material weaknesses, lack of internal controls, that could cause difficulties with procuring or securing federal grants.
And that's an important one for us. And I also take it that if we were a private sector company, we're missing out on the opportunity to depreciate assets, right? And that would be problematic. It's not problematic because we're a public entity.
Correct.
But I think your point about if we're not in compliance and we get called out repeatedly, that could impact our ability to bring in outside revenues.
Correct.
And so for that reason, I'm appreciative of you and your firm pointing this out. We thank you for it.
Very good.
And actually, Mr.
Commissioner
Mayor, if I
Maps,
could,
yeah, you bet.
I was going to save some of these questions for later, but they came up in the mayor's comments. I think I have two questions, one which deals with depreciation and the other which deals with the 6.3 million. Like the mayor, I think I can kind of understand what depreciation does if we were in the private sector, but as a public entity, I'm trying to wrap my mind around the work that the role that depreciation plays in our bookkeeping and how as policymakers we should think about that. Do we got someone in the room that can help me develop some intuition around that? Mike, do you know?
Well, I defer to the CFO and others regarding
Well,
accounting practices.
Okay.
And I might say to that, I mean, the role there is it gives you one other data point of where are your assets at in their useful life. So the more depreciated balance you have on there of existing assets, that shows you that there's more need to reinvest in that infrastructure, that you've got aging infrastructure, and there might be costs that are needed in the future to reinvest in that.
Got it. That's helpful. And on item 3, the expenses that were inappropriately included in the construction work, it feels a little bit like a black box. Can someone provide some intuition around what's happening with that 6.3 million?
I think some of that is going to be projects that maybe started and weren't going to move forward at some point, right? For whatever reason. So you start a project, you incur some costs, you think it's going to end up in a capital asset at some point, and then you shift gears and you're not moving forward with that project, right? That's what the bulk of this is representing.
What's the fix for that? Is that just being quicker to reclassify? The
I
work
think
that you're doing?
similar to Mayor Wheeler's proposal of, a solution is just reviewing that listing, not only for, hey, what construction projects are done and ready to be placed into capital assets and service, but which projects in here are we not moving forward with? And we know at that point in time, they're never going to end up being a capital asset. So let's recognize that expense today, which is what the accounting rules would say.
Got it. Thank you. I'll probably have some more questions, but I'll let you continue your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the record, Jonas Beery, the city's Deputy City Administrator of Budget and Finance and Chief Financial Officer. I just want to take a quick second and say thank you to the Mayor and Commissioners for your service to the city. It's greatly appreciated. So I'm going to back up just a minute and talk about the second item of the 3 on the agenda, which is item 1097, and then we'll move back to talking about the action plan that was described earlier. As was previously mentioned, the annual comprehensive financial report, colloquially called the ACFR, complies with state law, with generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, and with standards set forth by the Government Accounting Standards Board, or GASB. Pleased to acknowledge that the city has received for the 43rd consecutive year the GFOA Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the prior year, fiscal 22-23. And we expect to submit the current year ACFR for that award as well, and hope to continue that streak. Sometimes financial audit can be a document that only an accountant can love, but it is while it's a challenging document sometimes to interpret, some of the questions that have come up today, it is a very important document, as the auditor described, for transparency and communication of financial data. It's a critical tool used by members of the public, by city investors, by rating agencies, and by other interested parties in assessing the city's financial condition, and due to the standardization in reporting and comparing to peers. The audit, for the record, was published on the city's website last week, and it has been also distributed to a known list of interested stakeholders. I'll also take this opportunity just to note quickly that the city continues to carry a AAA bond rating from Moody's Investor Services, and we aim to maintain that rating despite the current budget challenges that will need to be addressed in the coming year. So the second item, the report that will hopefully be accepted, is a report from me presenting that full audit, ACFR document. The third item, the one that is of more interest, I think, here today, is an emergency ordinance authorizing the city to submit the additional required document to the Oregon Secretary of State related to the material finding. Keith from Los Adams described what that material finding is. The accounting division is already actively working with PBOT financial staff to correct the outstanding issues, and to the mayor's point, working to enhance protocols and practices, and additionally to offer additional training to accounting staff throughout the city to prevent future issues from occurring. We are requesting action by council today. The date of the audit publication was the 9th. This requirement of the Secretary of State's office is that the city's plan of action authorized by council be presented within 30 days of the audit findings. Since this is the final meeting, this is the meeting where we need to authorize that submittal of that report. The action plan itself does identify specifically that central accounting and PBOT will work together to identify resources to correct the backlog, in addition to enhancing procedures to monitor status citywide, not just within PBOT. I have promised to this body and the future council and to Portland that I will always tell you the truth. Part of the challenge here is a human bandwidth challenge. I would note that these kind of gaps are a real risk and frankly a predictable outcome when we don't invest in financial support infrastructure at the city, which has been something that has occurred over a period of many, many years. So, I think we're appreciative of Madam Auditor and of our external auditors in identifying these risks and consequences that happen. So I appreciate that effort. Lastly, in closing, while the work of accounting staff typically occurs well behind the scenes, this is an important reminder of the critical nature of that work and highlights the city's responsibility to maintain that staffing, that training, and those internal controls to ensure compliance and transparency. We greatly appreciate the expert perspective and the independent review by the Moss Adams team, and appreciate the effort and the independent role of the auditor's office to help foster getting this large body of work completed. Lastly, offer a huge thank you and kudos to City Controller John Maloney, Accounting Supervisor Kevin Sanders, and to the employees throughout the city who put in the work every single day to contribute to the preparation of the audit and to maintain and enforce accounting controls, systems, policies, and procedures. Happy to take additional questions. I do recommend that council move to accept the report and to approve the emergency ordinance. Thank you.
All right, and thank you. I want to thank the city auditor, the team in the budget and finance service area. Jonas, thank you for your great leadership. And thank you to Moss Adams for your excellent work in the preparation of these audit materials. As some of you have noticed, our closed caption system is on the blink. At the moment, we're going to take a 5-minute recess while that gets sorted out. We're in recess. All right, we're back in session. Colleagues, as you recall, 1096 is just a presentation. 1097 is a report. 1098 is an emergency ordinance. We will be voting on the report and the emergency ordinance. Before we get to public testimony, we'll do Q&A. Commissioner Mapps had his hand raised first.
Well, first, actually, is there public testimony on this one? I didn't check.
No one signed up.
Okay, if there's no public testimony, I do have a couple of questions.
Great.
We got through staff presentations at this point, so everything you officially want to say has been said. Great. I appreciate the presentation. I think I'd like to talk to Jeremy. Priya, you can come up too if you want to. If you don't have to on this one, but I'm just trying to understand some operational stuff here. Hey, welcome. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and I'll ask a couple questions.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Jeremy Pan with PBOT Finance. DC Priyadan Paul at Public Works.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us here on this beautiful day. Maybe Jeremy, I'll start with you, although the DCA may jump in and provide some insight. I'm just trying to understand why this happened. I think I understand sort of the problems that that the audit put together. Operationally, do you understand where this came from?
Yeah, and I think it's best said, DCA Beery kind of said it best with a lack of resources, really what it comes down to when you have limited accounting staff, as we do in PBOT.
Yeah.
Not the ability to really add a whole lot of staff over the last 5 years with budget shortfalls. We really have to prioritize what that staff works on.
Yeah.
And what we've been prioritizing is we need to pay our vendors.
Yeah.
And we need to try and pay them on time as much as possible, which I would say we even struggle a little bit with that right now. And then a lot of times that comes at the cost of things like this, of doing this compliance reporting.
Okay. And, I think the next thing we're going to hear about or vote on is the plan of action. Can you help me understand the relationship between the problems that we've identified and the plan of action? What is the plan of action? How does it fix our problems operationally?
So the plan of action from PBOT standpoint is due to that lack of resources, we ended up in this situation, so we can no longer ignore that lack of resource. So what we're going to do is go ahead and hire 2 limited term asset accountants to come in and start to work on this issue immediately to be addressing the audit, and then we'll see the ongoing support needed after that to maintain the proper reporting and the proper oversight. That's what PBOT will do. I know that central accounting will also have some work to do as far as they're going to offer additional trainings. They're also going to be providing some central oversight to make sure that we're doing the job that we need to do to be following up with our project managers.
You said these are temporary hires. How long are those folks going to be around for?
They'll be around as long as we need them. They're only temporary hires because we need council authority to actually add permanent folks, so we'll hire them temporarily, and then we can come back in the budget process and make them permanent. But we need them on board as soon as possible. That's why they're temporary.
I got it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that clarification. Mr. Mayor, I have no more questions.
All right, very good. Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah. Could you put up the slide that showed the dollar amounts that was up earlier? Of the material concerns.
We'll bring it up.
It's like the second to last one. That one, yeah. So my question is, it's more of a communication question. So we talk about what our deferred maintenance is to the public in PBOT and parks, and I wanted to make sure that the numbers are trued up, so our communication numbers about deferred maintenance are on the same par as they are with what the adjustments we're making here. Did that question make sense?
It did, and I talked to DCA Beer a little bit about this as well during the break. So when we come up with our deferred maintenance number, we're really basing that off of inspectors going out and looking at the assets and coming up with which ones are deficient or not deficient. That's what drives that number, not necessarily the accounting behind it. So I think what this will do is help that accounting more match up to what our numbers are. But our number is not based on simply a financial transaction. It's based on people's eyes on the assets, letting us know the shape.
Accounting language and comms language, and anyone who's run an organization, always there is a translation. So I just wanted to make sure that we were speaking with one voice. And it sounds like we're always on top of the current number when we talk about our deferred maintenance.
Yes.
Correct? All right. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Gonzalez.
I just had one related follow-up question. So maybe this is for Administrator Jordan. When we report out overall infrastructure investment deficits, and, you know, we sometimes speak to our, billion-dollar gap in funding infrastructure, is it based on kind of the bottom-up description he's talking about, where we're going out and looking at assets, assessing where investments need to be made? Because sometimes when it's presented, it feels like it's a little more formulaic, right? We're looking at what's been depreciated or amortized and backing in through some computation there. We have reported repeatedly our underinvestment in, and I'm not necessarily just deferred maintenance, I'm really talking about, so maybe can you enlighten a little bit of?
Sure. I think if I get your question correctly, the process of being able to ascertain deferred maintenance and those kinds of issues are much more like Jeremy described for, I would say, virtually all of our asset classes. However, I think there are financial considerations from our financial records that go into that number that you guys get reported annually anyway on our deferred maintenance. But it is much more eyes on assets, reports from maintenance folks about what they see as the life left in an asset, and that's where you get, and then of course the amount that we actually put into capital maintenance each year. Those two things together get you this deferred maintenance.
Well, it feels like we've used benchmarks at times in presenting the underinvestment in that space, and that at least implies there's some element of formula and computation is, against benchmarks as opposed to is the bottom-up description here. But,
I think it's both, to be fair.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. I will enter, and just confirming, Keelan, there's no public testimony on the report or the emergency ordinance.
No one saying.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the report, to accept the CAFR.
So moved.
Commissioner Gonzalez moves, Commissioner Maps seconds, if I may. Any further discussion? Please call the roll on item 1097, the report.
Maps.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Wheeler.
All right, the report is accepted. 1098, an emergency ordinance. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Maps.
Colleagues, accountability is the cornerstone of effective governance, and today we are taking a meaningful step towards upholding that principle. This audit revealed significant issues at PBOT, including incomplete reconciliations, insufficient oversight, and outdated financial systems. Understanding the roots of these problems is the first step towards doing better. The audit identified several factors that contributed to these problems. For example, PBOT heavily focused on delivering infrastructure and transportation services, often at the expense of back office financial functions. In addition, high turnover in key financial roles left gaps in institutional knowledge and expertise. Finally, legacy financial systems hindered accurate and timely reporting. Now, as the commissioner in charge of PBOT when many of these problems occurred, it is both uncomfortable to recognize these failures, but I also take responsibility where we should have done better. I think it's also important to recognize when we can do better, because this is an opportunity to improve. I have good news today. We have a robust remediation plan in place to address these shortcomings. Moving forward, monthly reconciliation protocols and a dedicated internal audit team will ensure better financial monitoring and accountability. Expanding staff training will equip financial staff with the necessary skills and tools to perform effectively. And investments in modernized accounting systems will streamline processes and minimize the risk of errors. The steps we are taking today will create a stronger PBOT and better government, which is why I vote aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for being so accountable. It was a good dialogue. I could tell that this has been helpful as we move forward. And we really need these watchdogs. It's just natural, because people make mistakes, and there's also accounting laws keep changing. That's what I always learned when I had a oversight in this. And so I think we have a great corrective plan of action, and I appreciate the strict oversight that I heard about going forward. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
Appreciate the dialogue. Aye.
Wheeler.
I vote aye, and the ordinance is approved. 1099, please.
Amend graffiti materials and sales code to allow for misdemeanor penalties resulting from graffiti application using right-of-way.
This has been pulled back.
1099 is pulled, 1009 is pulled back without objection. To the regular agenda, please, item 1110.
Amend contract with Northwest Success Incorporated to add funds for janitorial services not to exceed $2,450,000.
That's not what you read off. No, it was, one second, Keelan. It was 1099
Okay, 109, got it.
on the, and 1099 has been pulled back to Commissioner Gonzalez.
That's correct.
That's right. I thought-
Okay, very good. We're good. And then you've read 1110 on the regular agenda. And Keelan, can you remind me, this is a continued item, is that correct?
And it was continued, but it's still a second reading.
Okay, so we have already heard a presentation. We've taken public testimony on this. This is a second reading of a non-emergency ordinance. Is there any further discussion on 1110?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan and then Commissioner
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Mapps.
Well, I wanted people from the attorneys or someone to come up to tell us on what happened with the, thank you. Aye.
Good morning.
Morning.
We heard from Council for Northwest Success yesterday that they had mediation with SCIU. They were unsuccessful in reaching a resolution, and they plan on moving swiftly to binding interest arbitration as required by our policy.
Okay, that's good to hear. So my point was I wanted to know what the action would be going forward. So I'm sitting up here knowing we have to have someone clean our restrooms. Portlanders would be quite upset if they were all locked and they weren't clean. So at the same time, I don't want to continue to be in this place where you hear two different versions of what's going on. And so to hear that there was finally action where they met, they're at impasse, but they're going to continue to meet.
Yes, that's correct. The next process that they're going to go through is binding interest arbitration. They said that they planned on moving there quickly. I didn't get an exact date from Council for Northwest Success, but it sounds like they're moving through our process as required by our policy.
And so how long will this, give me a sense of how long this will take?
It depends. I'm not sure yet if they've agreed upon an arbitrator. So the typical process would be for the parties to agree upon an arbitrator, get dates from that arbitrator, which will depend on who they select, what the availability would be. We could look at anywhere between a couple of months maybe to up to 6 months, I might say.
And what will the feedback loop be for the incoming council?
I'm guessing they'll be apprised of the status of the parties in binding interest arbitration. It is binding on them, so whatever resolution they get at that juncture will be complete. There will be a decision made about the labor peace agreement at that point, and their obligation to us under the LPA policy will be complete for purposes of contracting.
So I know I'm sure my colleagues want to be in compliance with labor peace, and we also want our bathrooms to be cleaned in January. So are we going to be holding this process accountable because you'll be checking in with us in a few months to let us know what the status is? And if it continues to be in a place where there's debate about compliance, what would be the action to look into a contractor who could therefore be in compliance with labor peace?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've been in good communication with the council for both parties. I expect them to continue to provide updates, which we can provide to council as much as we get information. So that will be a continued communication from our end.
To the extent that they do not complete their obligations for binding interest arbitration, there would be contract remedies available to the city. It would depend on what the city's interest is in terms of going through those specific processes laid out in the contract. There's usually a cure period provided for that they can complete the requirements for the binding interest arbitration. If that's not being done, we could look at more kind of serious measures under the contract, whether we want to cancel the contract, find liquidated damages, and look for a new contractor. So there are remedies available to us if they don't complete the requirements of the labor peace agreement.
Well, the good news is that this is out in the public. It's transparent. There's now pressure in a good way to continue to meet and to get to an agreement, right?
Agreed.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mapps.
Commissioner Ryan, I appreciate the questions you asked. I had many of the same ones. Just quickly, can staff remind me when this contract expires?
Yes. Good morning.
Morning.
Sonia Szymanski, DCA for the Vibrant Community Service Area. This contract expires June 30.
Okay, so the contract expires June 30, and the relevant parties are engaged in a process to figure out whether or not the contractor is in compliance, and that process could take a while too. So we got about 6 months left in the contract, and these discussions around compliance with labor peace agreements continues to unfold. That's roughly where we're at.
Correct.
What happens if it's not resolved before the end of the contract?
Well, you described that that's contemplated and that we would have additional remedies we could pursue. I would anticipate that we would do that assertively.
Okay.
And if I may,
Sure.
Commissioner, we will likely start a process to get a contractor for July 1. Soon. So these processes will be running in parallel.
Okay.
Regardless of the outcome of the arbitration, we will be doing a process to get a new contract in place July 1. This contractor could bid on that, but there will probably be others. So that's kind of the process that will move forward.
Thank you. One more question. Under the new form of government, well, historically, contracts like that, I think, might have come to council. Will they come to council in the next form of government?
I don't think that they will have to, but I think there is a size and time limit. If it is a multi-year contract, it will have to have a non-appropriations clause in it because council will have to appropriate for multi-years. So.
Okay. I'm not sure I tracked all of that, but hopefully folks who are going to be around did track that.
Yeah, a pin was put in this. And so counselors can also ask. It's almost like pulling something off consent, if you will.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, just to be clear, I mean, council has investigative powers, so if they're concerned about labor peace agreements, they can go and investigate that. I don't know that authorization of a contract outside of appropriations considerations will come back to council.
This one will.
Okay.
Leave that to you all.
I'll trust Commissioner Ryan on that one. I got no more questions.
All right, very good. This is a second
Nope.
reading of a non-emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Mapps.
Colleagues, I'll be voting in favor of this ordinance. My vote reflects the city's obligation to fulfill its contractual commitments. The janitorial services provided by Northwest Success are also essential to maintaining clean and welcoming recreational facilities in our community. At the same time, like I think many people on this council, I have concerns that this contract may not fully align with this council's policy on labor peace agreements. Unfortunately, I do not believe that this issue can be resolved before my time on this council comes to an end. That's why I'm taking a moment to encourage the next council to continue to monitor this space. With those considerations in mind, I vote aye.
Review.
I'm glad to hear that the contractor attended the mediation meeting yesterday, hoping that there was more progress that we would hear today. I understand I'm not likely in the majority on this, but I get the outcome ultimately may be the same. I personally still have some concerns and questions about the sequencing. And I don't feel comfortable increasing the contract until the process is resolved. So I vote no.
Ryan?
Well, I first of all want to say that your average Portlander wants our bathrooms and our parks to be clean and open, and we have to keep working on that practice. Second, I'm really glad, again, that this is out in the public, this conversation. And I will put a pin in it and keep tracking. Because I've heard some of this before when it was off track, I'm going to go ahead and say it's just past time to get to a resolution on this. And I think we've been too slow to respond. And with that caveat of hope, but at the same time, with the vote for pressure to continue to meet and to get to a resolution, I vote no.
Gonzalez?
Boy, I'm a little bit concerned about precedents we're setting in questioning our financial obligations here. I vote aye.
Wheeler?
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Item 1111, a second reading.
Assess benefited properties for street, sidewalk, stormwater, and sanitary sewer improvements in the North Settle Road Local Improvement District.
Second reading. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Gonzalez?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Item 1112.
Amend Civil Rights Code to reflect city policy and the Oregon Equality Act and make other process changes in relation to all user, single occupant bathrooms.
Commissioner Maps?
Yeah, colleagues, I'm going to pull this item back to my office. My team has identified some technical issues in this ordinance that should be addressed before it is voted on by council. Unfortunately, since this is my final meeting, I will not be able to bring this item back before council. However, I do want to take a moment to encourage future members of council to monitor this space and potentially build on the work contained in this ordinance. Thank you.
Without objection. Thank you, Commissioner Maps. Item 1113. This is a report.
Accept report on the remodel of City Hall.
And let's see. Colleagues, as mentioned earlier at the beginning of this session, we're celebrating a major milestone in the transition today with the substantial completion of the Portland City Hall renovation project. The Bureau of Fleet and Facilities, in partnership with other city programs and bureaus, was tasked with carrying out this sizable construction project with a very hard deadline of January 1st, 2025. As part of the project, council chambers were remodeled to accommodate a 12-member council. Commissioner offices were converted into district suites. The mayor's office was updated to accommodate a city administrator as well as a council operations team, and additional meeting room spaces were created in what were previously underutilized areas of the building. These renovations have resulted in a fully functional, ADA-compliant, safe, and updated facility that will be ready to welcome the new administration and the new city council in January. With that, I will turn this over to the Director of the Bureau of Fleet and Facilities Services, Maddie Sauter, to present the report. Welcome, Director Sauter.
Good morning, Council. On behalf of myself and a very exhausted team from Facilities Services and the Bureau of Technology Services, I am here to present the report for the substantial completion of City Hall, specifically chambers and associated offices. Substantial completion is a major milestone in a project. It is not final completion. We estimate reaching final completion on February 16th of 2025, but substantial completion means that a facility is used and useful and that we have accepted it from the contractor, in this case, Howard S. Wright. We have accepted all of the physical spaces. We still have yet to accept some of the technology and AV elements of the facility. Remodeling council chambers is a once-in-a-generation activity. It was done in 1933. It was done again in the early 1970s, and then it was done again in 1996. And that facility was the one that you entered when you came into office and were very familiar with. But of course, facilities age, and in particular, we needed to make critical upgrades to the technology and security systems and then create room for the expanded council. We want to very much thank this council for the inconvenience that the project created. I know that it was difficult. You had to move out of your facilities, you had to go to a temporary location. Now you're here for the last meeting, but we do very much appreciate it. And overall, we want to appreciate this council in particular for supporting core operations. You not only approved this project, which will help the new city council meet their public meeting law requirements on the first day of their jobs, but in addition for our bureau, you've supported other facilities like the move of City Fleet out of the Kirby garage. We see this council as one that has really gone above and beyond to not just do the exciting things, but also to do the really hard things that people often don't appreciate. So we hope that the new council takes note of that and follows in your footsteps, because there's certainly many more aspects of deferred investment that we have yet to address. I also want to thank my team for all of their hard work, and I know Mike is going to build on that here in a moment. But it's been a true endeavor between us and BTS and OpenSignal, the clerk, really everybody that's involved in behind-the-scenes productions to make this work. Getting to the brass tacks of what we've done, as noted, we have the renovated spaces. In so doing, we have avoided creating a stranded asset. So stranded asset is what happens when you lose functionality in a facility, but you still have to have it on your books. So we've been able to reuse this 1895 facility and make it modern, contemporary, and useful. We have upgraded technology that by January 2nd will fully meet ADA compliance rules and allow for a hybrid council. And we have in the offices replaced 46 different heat pumps that were at end of life that used R22 refrigerant, which emits a greenhouse gas that's 1,800 times more potent than carbon. And that was a core element of our climate action plan. Is the mic going in and out? Oh, okay. Conceptualizing the project took 14 months. Constructing the project took 10. So again, you allowing this to move forward meant that the new council was not going to have to wait 2 to 3 years in order to really fully perform their duties. We opened 2 weeks early after having an original target substantial completion date of December 31st for offices and January 1st for chambers. Our final approved construction budget was $8.27 million, and we believe we are forecasting that the final project will be $8.33 million, so we are within 1.5% of budget. Our cost per square foot on the project is $183 a square foot. Current contemporary projects are averaging around $300 to $400 a square foot. So this was a good investment for the people. And lastly, from an equity and contracting standpoint, we had a 20% equity and contracting goal for design. We achieved 100% participation for design. We had a 25% goal for construction, and we achieved an overall participation rate of 42%. Overall, the Bureau's mission is to deliver value for the public, often in ways that people don't see or appreciate, and we feel that we've done that on this project, and we hope that you concur. So with that, I would like to hand it over to City Administrator Jordan for some final words.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'll echo Maddie's thanks of you. It's been a pretty challenging last year of your terms, and we thank you for your patience and your flexibility. It's a special day today that we get to open these chambers and have you here for your last meeting. It's really important. There are a few folks I'd like to lift up and thank, but before I do, I want to announce that we will be having a public open house for the new facility. I think in mid-February is what we're shooting for. We'll get a date out, obviously, when we have that finalized. And at that moment, we'll get a chance to really thank all the folks that are involved in this and open up the People's House for them to inspect it. But first, today, Maddie's given me the honor of thanking a few individuals who played a really important role in this project. First, a big thank you to Randy Selleck, who runs facilities, moves, additions, and changes team, and whose experience with the procurement and legal aspects of the facility construction process at the city were key to getting this project off the ground. along with her knowledge of City Hall, because it's been in her portfolio for the last decade or so. So thank you, Randy. Please stand and be recognized. And new Fleet and Facilities intern Nora is handing out gifts. So thank you, Nora, for that. Next, an enormous thank you to Caitlin McGeehee, the principal project manager on this renovation. Caitlin joined the city about a month before this project kicked off. And so, of course, Maddie and Randy immediately gave her the hardest job they had to get it done. And Caitlin has done an amazing job. Prior to joining the city, Caitlin did a lot of school renovations, and so she brought to the team substantial architectural and project management experience and really stewarded facilities through the use of CMGC, or construction manager, general contractor form of contracting, which is what allowed the project to be completed on time and so close to budget. Just a final note on Caitlin, she is the consummate professional, diplomatic, whether she's working with elected officials or the media or with contractors. There's really no way to express how important her leadership has been for getting this job done. Thank you, Caitlin. Next, I want to thank Monica Ramirez, who heavily supported council when Chambers moved to the 1900 building, who helped set up this chamber, and who is now doing the same for all the new council offices. Monica has a terrific attitude, and we're so glad she's here with the city. Thank you, Monica. There are also a few people on the technology and broadcasting teams that make all of our broadcasts go so well for the public and work their way through the panicked moments when they don't work quite as well as they do. First, you all know this man, James Apple, who is here, who leads the Bureau of Technology Services radio and video shop, and basically lives behind the scenes making our work possible, and who offered key insights into the design of our wonderful new audiovisual and broadcasting systems. Thank you, James. And lastly, to close us out, three more people you all know. Adam Coppernell, who is, I believe, here, and the Bureau of Technology Services, who I think starts up every computer like 100 times for us and make sure it all works. Yes. And Sharon Thomas and Davina Krug and Chris Polanco from Open Signal, who ensure that everyone in the community has access to our meetings through their incredible work on our audio-visual broadcasts. Thank you. And with that, Council, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this item before? Do we have public testimony on this item, Keelan?
I don't believe anyone signed up, no.
Okay, very good. Any further discussion on this item?
Mayor, they just got little gavels? Is that what those were?
Those were little gavels. Yes,
Cool.
check them out. Those
That's
are
pretty
cool. Well done.
I actually forgot to put in the order for you. It was on the list, but you get gavels too. I don't know how I forgot that.
What did they say?
And thank you, Michael, for recognizing all the many, many people who worked so hard behind the scenes. They most certainly have not gotten all the credit that they deserve for this project. If there's not further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Commissioner Maps moves.
Second.
Was that Commissioner Gonzalez? Yep. Seconds. Any further discussion? Please call the roll. Keelan.
Maps.
I want to thank everyone who worked hard to make these renovations possible. I also encourage every Portlander to come swing by your city hall in the coming weeks and months. The building is truly beautiful and ready for the 21st century and our next council. I'm proud that we got to this moment. Mayor, your leadership in managing this transition. Same with Mike. You've been amazing. I'm proud to vote aye.
Rubio.
I want to thank the entire remodel project team, audiovisual, IT teams, and partners, including Director Jordan and your team, for all of your tireless work. This project really signals a new beginning for our city government, and it's very exciting for Portland. Really excited to also be in this really bright, sunny room. It's really cool. I'm very jealous. So again, just want to say applaud you all, and job well done. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, that was a great presentation. Thank you, Maddie. And I can imagine how exhausted you are, because I was here, I don't know, it was late in the day, and you could tell you were going to be here much longer as you were working out the kinks. So anyway, job well done. There haven't been that many this morning, so that's another proof. I also want to say that this, to me, feels like a big phase one. I know we're going to have longer conversations about what this means in district offices, and I look forward to that conversation, and I know that we have such an amazing team that will pull that off. Thank you. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
I just want to echo my comments this morning and my colleagues' comments today. Thank you to all the team members who contributed here. You have delivered a lovely facility to house our new form of government. I vote aye.
Wheeler.
Well, I've been spying on you all. You didn't know this. My temporary office across the street has a perfect bird's eye view both into the chambers as well as the council offices. And I've been watching nervously over the course of many months, wondering whether this project would be delivered on time. And I want to say how much I appreciate the work everybody here has put in to get it done. And Keelan, I think we have to agree, we've had far fewer glitches today than we thought we might. We really haven't had a test run on the lighting or the technology or the IT systems or the broadcast system. And it's really gone more or less without a hitch. And I know that a lot of people in this room right now worked hard to make sure that that was the case. I want to thank our teams from Holst Architecture and Howard S. Wright, as well as many of our trade partners for their outstanding work on this. I want to thank all of you who are important members of our staff within facilities, within technology services, integrated security, the auditor's office, the attorney's office, business operations, procurement, and the transition team who contributed significantly to this project. Many, many, many city employees worked hard, and that included evenings, and it included weekends, and it included time over vacations for people to be able to get this done on the timeline that was directed by the voters of this city. I also want to give special thanks to Maddie Sauter. Thank you for your leadership on this. Caitlin McGeehee, Randy Selleck, Monica Ramirez, James Apple, Adam Coppernoll, Manny Carrera, Keelan McClymont, Aaron Beck, Kathleen Brennis Marua, and many others for shepherding this work. I want to thank my staff in the mayor's office as well. I know you all work really long hours. You work hard, not just on the issues around our city, but you took a personal interest in ensuring that this project was delivered on time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the work of my team. I feel very fortunate to work alongside all of them. And Sarah and Haley, I see you here today. I know you both worked very, very hard on this project in particular, although many other members of our team did as well. Thank you so much for that. All of you collectively were charged with delivering a key element of this transition, and you responded with determination, creativity, adaptability, and I would argue unreasonable calmness. Elected leaders as well as Portlanders will benefit from your work for many, many, many years to come, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to hold our final council sessions here today. I vote aye. The report is accepted, and we are adjourned until 2 p.m.
Let's do a picture with the teams that are here for that last item real quick, if you guys are okay.
Sure. Yeah. You guys want to get a photo? Sure. It's a mile that way.
Is this yours?
It is.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Alrighty.
Sorry.
No, we're all.
I'm like the bad neighbor.
you.